Well, hi there and welcome to a special Cup preview edition of the Falkirk Football Programme. I'm joined on the show tonight by ex-Falkirk captain Jamie McGowan. Jamie, nice to have you back on the show again.
Good to be here.
A fairly big week for Falkirk, obviously, something that you've experienced in the past, but something that people can get excited about.
Well, it's semi-finals are great, you know. I mean, it doesn't really matter about your league performances. It's about one-off game. If you can get through that one and get a replay and get more money into the club as well, this is another big thing. But yeah, it'll be a great weekend. I think I'll be there.
Something that you're going to be there as a fan this time amongst the Falkirk faithful, but you know, as a player as well, it must be a fair occasion to play in something like that as well.
It is, yeah, but you're just as excited as the fans as well. You know, it's just one of these things. The whole town will be absolutely buzzing, and it'll be a great event.
Well, earlier on today, the Falkirk Football Programme caught up with Craig Sibbald, and here's what he had to say.
Craig, big game. You'll be hoping it's third time lucky at Hampden for yourself?
Hopefully we can put it right this time. Been to Hampden a few times and it's not been the result we wanted, so hopefully we can put it right this time.
On the previous occasions we've played well. Last time in particular we got ourselves 3 goals up and then it just seemed to fall apart. This year Hibs don't have a Lee Griffiths in their team and we're in the same division, so it's probably a more even game.
Lee Griffiths obviously scored a couple of screamers the last game and made it hard for us, but if we can get the start that we got last time, it would be great, and I think we'd have the experience for the last game and we would be able to see it out this time.
Now you're a Falkirk fan and you must have grown up dreaming of days like this.
Aye, I'm just buzzing. I've been to it's been my third semi-final, so a few of the players are saying it doesn't come around that often, so I'm happy with that, and hopefully we can get into a final this time.
Again, I'll take back as a fan's point of view. I can remember my first semi-final as a Falkirk fan was 1997, and I waited a long time, and then we've had loads of semi-finals since then.
Aye.
In 1997 Falkirk managed to overturn the odds and beat Celtic. Kind of a bit of spirit in 97 about us this year and turn over Hibs.
Aye, hopefully. That's what you want to do, and we've beat Hibs twice this season, draw with them as well, so got no reason why we can't go and do it, so hopefully we can turn up on Saturday and get a good game and be a good day for the fans.
You seem to have that wee bit special for the big games yourself. When you scored away at Queen of the South in the last leg, you had a spectacular goal at Tynecastle. It seems to be when the big occasion comes round you can put Sibbald on the score sheet.
Aye, well, hopefully wouldn't mind a wee goal like my last year in Hampden, so I'll be happy if we score, and just looking to get the win really.
Is it a difficult week around the club? I mean, today it's like a media circus going on. I mean, there's press, there's boys going to get their videos at the Kelpies, the Scottish Cups here. Does it create a right buzz, or is it distracting, or what's it like as a player?
It's quite exciting. Like, you didn't get it every week, so you just got to kind of cherish the moment and make the most of it, and I'm sure the players are, and like I said, you didn't get to a lot of cup semi-finals of that, so you've got to cherish the moment, and hopefully we can get the win. People
say it's a good day out, but I suspect it's only a good day out if you win.
Aye, that's true, because it wasn't very good last time, the feelings I had after our Hibs came back, so hopefully we can keep the feelings away and have good feelings basically.
Is that at the back of your mind as well, drive you on? Do you think it'll drive you on during the game to make sure that you didn't have those feelings again, because you've experienced the bad side of the coin?
It wasn't nice last time, so obviously that'll spur you on, and the players that were involved last time, they'll experience that as well, so hopefully that can drive us forward and get the win also.
Well, good to hear from Craig Sibbald there. Jamie, a player that's done really well for Falkirk over the last couple of years, and for me personally, probably his best season this season. Would you agree with that?
I haven't seen a lot of him, but what I have seen was really impressive. I mean, a couple of seasons ago when you beat Livingston, I think it was a wonderful footballer. He just caresses the ball with his left foot. He's like he's got a cape on or something like that. You know, it's just it's effortless for the boy sometimes. And even this season, I've seen him and he's just effortless. Sometimes drifts out the game a wee bit, but he can be a match winner, which is important for the team at the minute.
He's the kind of guy as well who, you know, the last year or two, people, they had a little dig at him saying he was quite small, he was quite lightweight, but, you know, looking at him this year, he's definitely been hitting the gym, you can tell that, and he looks a lot stronger this year as well.
Well, if if you become a student of the game, you start looking at people like Messi and see why they can't get him off the ball. And he stays on his feet. He's got a great centre of gravity, and he bounces off people. And he's got to learn to do that, because they're going to come after him. He's going to, as he caresses the ball and takes it away from people, they're going to have a kick at him, and he's got to have that in his locker to be able to bounce off people.
And there's been a little bit of debate with Craig in terms of his best position. Some people say it's left wing, some people say it's lying deep in the centre of midfield, other people it's at number 10 role. If you were the Bears manager this weekend, where would you play him?
Well, I'd like to play him, joining in with the forwards. I think it's pretty exciting when he gets hold of it in the final third, and if he's playing wide left or more of the centre, he probably struggles to join in at that position. I think it could be a good help to any striker up there. Just to have the link between midfield and forwards, because I think they'll need that on Saturday.
And it's quite a thing as well to have such a player, because people seem to forget just how young Craig Sibbald actually is, but to have played the sheer number of first team games at his age is actually quite an achievement, isn't it?
Well, it is, and I saw him at 16-year-old, and he was just one of these raw talents, and you think, well, how long is it going to last, But he's Scotty Arfield when he's doing really well at the minute, and he can go all the way as well, absolutely.
And is it a fair comment then that a few people are speculating that Falkirk, if he keeps progressing the way he is, maybe another year he may not be here?
Well, you'd like him to be here, but as well, this is what the club's become now. He's developing players and he's selling them on, and they're doing well when they're going down south and stuff, and that's the way it's got to be. When with a club the size of Falkirk, we've got to be a selling club. Sometime that might change when something else happens, or other money comes into the club. But at the minute, that's the way it is at the minute.
And at the moment, Craig, the way he's playing, probably Falkirk's star man.
Yeah, he probably is. Yeah, and he's the guy that when you're on the ball, you want to give him it. You want to give him it all the time, because he's exciting when he gets it. He's got different ideas. He can go by people. He can nutmeg people. It's great. It's great to watch. They're the type of Scottish players we all love.
I think we can all agree with that one, but also the Falkirk Football Programme earlier on today as well, speaking to Craig Sibbald, we also caught up with Blair Alston, and here's what Blair had to say.
Blair, Hampden at the weekend, third time lucky for yourself?
I mean, hopefully so. It's obviously twice before been there and not quite got the result we were looking for, and Saturday's just going to be such a great occasion that hopefully we can get the win that we want.
Does having been there before, do you think that will help?
I think it only can help. I think that maybe the first time, or certainly the last one against Hibs, maybe at times feeling a bit sort of nervous and looking at what's going to happen for the game, and this time sort of know what it's about and hopefully get a good performance in, and I know that if I work hard on that, I'll take care of myself, and the team will definitely do what we can to get the win that we need.
You've got a bit of a Scottish Cup pedigree. Everybody's talking about the goal you scored at Hamilton. It was a bit of a screamer. Would you say something like that on Saturday?
I've said it sort of many times. I'd take absolutely anything I can get on Saturday. If I'm fortunate enough to score one from as far out as that, then I'd be delighted. And the same, I think last semi-final my goal was maybe 6 yards out, and I'd take that again. I'd bite your hand off for another opportunity like that. So anything I can get, I'd be delighted with. And I think it is definitely one of those. It's probably a football cliche to say, but if it's not me that scores and it's somebody else, it generally doesn't matter this time. It's all about sort of getting through, and hopefully we can do that.
The ball is different from your normal league ball. You were training with it today. How did you find it?
I mean, it's different. It's really different. It's a lot lighter. It's sort of surprising how different two footballs can be. You'd think they'd be sort of very similar, but there is lots of difference about it. But we'll train with it all week and get used to it. I think even by the end of the session today, you were sort of more aware of how the ball moves and how it travels differently and things, and we'll be ready for Saturday with the ball.
Do you think that helps offensive players at free kicks when they're striking the ball?
Definitely. I think that at any point when you sort of strike the ball, the keepers are saying how much the ball moves, and that can only help you sort of try and make it a bit more sort of distracting for them before they make the saves. And I think that the balls that we use nowadays anyway, they're so much different from maybe not so much from when I first started playing, but certainly from what you hear from people, what it used to be like, that the ball moves all over the place. And even the ball that we'll be using on Saturday, you get a lot of movement from just sort of hitting it quite hard. So hopefully we can get a wee bit of movement on something that can get in the back of the net.
You're away team hotel on Friday night. How does that affect your preparations? A good thing? Do you think it will help calm all the boys' nerves, or maybe not been there before?
I mean, it's good because you're sort of around everyone that's going through the same thing, so everyone sort of knows how each other's feeling, and sort of people will deal with it differently. Some people get really nervous and probably be sort of like just so looking forward to the game that they maybe can't quite sort of relax in the way they normally would.
Some people will probably be a bit more sort of relaxed and settled for it. I think that it's good because you know that you get decent food at the hotel, you'll be preparing properly, plenty of fluids and things, and as we get ready for the game in the next day, and yeah, just looking forward to it.
Do you think, having lost the last time, the feeling that must have been a terrible feeling in the dressing room, and I said to us, oh God, I wasn't in the team bus on the way home.
Yeah.
That must have been a terrible drive. Do you think that'll spur you on?
I think that we don't really need motivation from how bad it was last time. I think that you just know sort of how important the game is and what you've got to look forward to. I mean, if we can get through and get to a final of the Scottish Cup, I mean, what an achievement it would be for a club the size of Falkirk to sort of show that we're not as far off it as maybe perhaps it looks at times. And I think to get into a semi-final shows that, I mean, I think it's our third semi-final in 6 years or 5 years or something of a major competition, and I think it shows how sort of the way the club is. I think if we can get a decent result on Saturday, it could be massive.
If you look back at other successful semi-finals the club's had, if you look at 97, there's a bit of spirit in 97 when they overturned Celtic, and what was the first final in about 40 years, and then beat Dunfermline in the biggest derby ever. You've got Hibs, you've got a chance to put the season before it. I mean, there's a wee theme there.
I mean, I think football's always good at throwing up things like that, where I think of all teams we could have played, Hibs was going to be the one that was going to create the most stories, wasn't it? It's a team we've played obviously a lot throughout the season already. It's probably really different from last time because we know what they're like, we know a lot more about them in terms of sort of how they play. I mean, we've been up against it ourselves rather than sort of just watching DVDs and clips of them before, and obviously we've done quite well against them this season, so we go into the game as underdogs. They'll obviously be favourites still, given their sort of league position and the way they've performed, but we know we're more than capable of getting a result, and hopefully we can do that.
Has being underdog helped to take some of the pressure off, because
I think
the expectation's not on you?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we go into the game, we've got nothing to lose. I mean, everyone will expect Hibs to win. Everyone will think that they should go out and beat us because, as I say, like this, maybe the size of their club, but also where they've been in the league and how they've performed this season. But going into it as an underdog, there's just no fear. The boys don't need to worry about anything, because as long as we go out and give it everything that we've got, we know that we'll give them a good game, and if we can get the result perhaps that we're looking for, then it would be perfect.
Well, great hearing what Blair had to say there. Well, Jamie, again, another product of the Falkirk Academy, and he's acquitted himself quite well the last few years.
Well, he has, yeah. He's another one that I saw as quite a youngster, and he. And I think he's done really well at the club, even to be playing as he is now. He looks as though he's got a lot stronger as well, and again he's pretty dominant when he's going forward. Scored quite a few goals as well, which is great for his confidence. But it's he's one of the most experienced ones in the team, is he not? With Falkirk and semi-finals and stuff, So he's a very good player.
And again, one of these guys that you forget how young he is, because it seems like Blair's been around forever, but again, still a young player.
Yeah, I was asking you how old he was then. I thought he was about 24, but it's unbelievable, really. These players are getting to these to semi-finals at this age. I mean, I was 27. I was obviously a bit more experienced, but it was nerve-wracking as it was. And these kids are coming in and they're being great players and playing well in semi-finals. It's just good luck to them.
And, Blair's been quite a versatile player for Falkirk over the last year. I mean, we've seen him playing recently in the last few games, central midfield. He's played on the left wing, he's played right wing, he even played just off the main striker the other week. So, again, it's important to have guys in the squad who can do that, isn't it?
Well, it is, and that's how I played for so long, because I could play in lots of different positions, left back, right back, centre half, centre mid, and you have to be able to do that to stay in the game nowadays,
But again, the fact that Blair is also, same as Craig Sibbald earlier on, he's grown up now, he's looking stronger, he's quite direct as well. He's really progressing his game gradually, isn't he?
Well, he is, yeah, and he knows where the goal is. He's, as I say, I've seen him score a few goals now, and it's not little tap-ins, you know what I mean? He's really going for goal, long shots and stuff, it's good. It's good to see, Just again, I just hope they do. They're not too nervous on Saturday, and they go and just get the job done,
Is it quite surprising, Jamie, the fact that we believe this is Blair's third semi-final at such an age?
Well, it's amazing. I didn't achieve it, So he's done really well, But it was the team have to stick together on Saturday. They have to really get together and say, look, we're going to stop every cross, we're going to stop every shot. The keeper's got to play well. centre forwards and centre midfield or down the spine's got to play well. If they do that, they've got a chance.
And how much will the kind of previous experience, that Craig and Blair and the other guys have garnered from the previous semis, will that help them going into this semi-final?
It will, because it's to them, hopefully now it'll be just another game. As if, right, come on, we've got to get on there, we've got to keep the ball, we've got to play well, put crosses in, have shots on target and stuff like that. Just treat it as another game and, again, just stick together and help each other out.
Well, next up on the Falkirk Football Programme here, the Cup Preview Show, we have a quick interview with Luke Leahy and Will Vaulks.
Right, we'll start off on the kind of less serious note. Ping pong champion?
Yeah, for a while now. It's not difficult. There's not many good players in there, so you don't have to be that good.
But do you reckon you cheat?
No, I'm just want to win.
Just want to win?
Yeah.
It's quite good for team spirit, having games of table tennis and championships and breaks up the lunch break.
Yeah, you hear it in there, everyone shouting and screaming. We play it before training and after training, and yeah, like you say, there's a few fallouts, but nothing more.
On to the serious business, Cup semi-final, that must be like boyhood stuff coming true. I mean, when you set in the path to be a footballer, this is the kind of days you dream of.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, of course, it's massive. It's a big week. I was at home last night with my family, and it come on for an advert for the thing, and that's when I realised it is a big game, and it's can't wait.
Think you'll be nervous on the tunnel on the way out?
No, I'll be all right. I'll be nervous when I get up and everything. Like I am for every game, if it's Hampden semi-final or Cowdenbeath away. But no, I'll be fine once I get out there and warm up and everything. I'll be fine. I'll just want to get playing.
Be the biggest game you've played in, then, I guess.
Yeah, massive. Yeah, it'll be the biggest by far. So can't wait.
Does it help the fact that you're playing a team you played before, so there's not that? Oh, you don't have to hold Hibs and all. They're not one of the old firm. They're not like packed full of superstars and mega bucks, and you're like you need a miracle to beat them. I mean, we've got a chance. I mean, we've done well against them this year.
Oh, they haven't beat us this year, so going by that, everyone's saying that Falkirk will be difficult. It'll be difficult to beat Hibs, but they haven't beat us, so we just take that, and it doesn't matter. Anything can happen on a semi-final day, and just hope we can get through.
First 10-15 minutes kind of crucial to get through and start the game at a good tempo.
Yeah, it is. It's massive. Just settle any nerves, if there is any nerves. Just settle them and just get the ball playing, and hopefully we can get the upper edge in the first 10-15 minutes, because it is vital.
They say, I mean, Hampden's a big stadium, but it's only a football pitch, same as another one, isn't it? When you think about it, I mean, it's within the regulation dimensions. It just looks bigger because of the surroundings.
Oh yeah. It won't make me. I mean, it is a big pitch. 2 years ago, I didn't play, but I was on it before, and it was a big pitch. But I think that will suit us. It will suit both teams, to be fair. But I'm hoping that we can take full advantage of the big pitch and do well.
So can we expect a Luke Leahy goal from that corner move that we've seen a few times?
I don't know. I'll say no, because in case they're watching. No, but hopefully.
It never works, does it?
No, hopefully. But just as long as we win and we play well, that's all that matters.
It's about it. I mean, when you go to a semi-final, it is about just winning, isn't it? Because I mean, you don't enjoy it. It's not a good day out if you get beat.
No. It's just
a horrible coach journey home, I would imagine.
Yeah, it will. But
that won't happen, obviously.
No, it won't. No, but no, just want to win. I think the Queen's game, the quarter-final, I don't think we played particularly well, but we got through, and that's what Cup's about. I think Brecon at home, when we won 2-1, we didn't play nowhere near where we're good enough. But we got through, and that's what it's all about, and just hoping we can get through.
Create a goal in the Queen's game away, and then spend the night in hospital.
I didn't spend it at hospital. I spent it at Sibbs', but he was looking after me. But yeah, just the same again. Hopefully, take a 1-0 win.
So how did that work? Was he sitting mopping your brow all night?
No, he was snoring next to me. But no, it was. I don't remember much of it. I know I watched the game back when I went to his after, but didn't remember anything before that.
It was a sore one, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like you said, we won, and that's all that mattered. I think I would have been more hurt if that happened and it come back in and it was in extra time or something like that. But it made it a bit better that we got through.
You're staying away in the team hotel on Friday night. It's probably not an experience that happens at Falkirk all the time. The club our size, it tends to be travel to the game on a team bus and then come back. Do you think that'll help? Being away with all the boys the night before, do you think that'll help gel with team spirit?
It will settle the nerves, I think, when everyone's with each other and not really if you're at home alone, like me, I'll probably be thinking about it too much. But when you're with everyone, like
you'll be having a carry on, yeah.
like cracks and everyone like that, I'm sure they'll make you forget about it if we do a few things just to pass time.
Yeah, no setting the alarms off in the building.
No, of course not. But there'll be something happening.
Well, Scottish Cup semi-final. It's a thing dreams are made of.
Yeah, definitely. I was there last time, sat in the stand. It was good to watch, but obviously I wanted to be out and involved. And this time, I can't wait to get going and get down there on the Friday night and look forward to it.
It's a big venue, isn't it? It's a big stadium.
Yeah, of course. But we've been to quite a few big places this year. The league's obviously got some good teams in. Tynecastle, was full. When we went to Ibrox, there was a good amount, 35,000, I think. So, it won't be as overwhelming as what it might have been maybe 2 years ago.
How do you think you'll have butterflies going down the tunnel?
Yeah, of course, I'm sure I will. I'm sure most of the players will, but I think you've got to use that positively and try and use that in a good way, not let it kind of get too much. I don't think we will.
You're away the night before, the team stayed in a hotel. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is it good to go with the boys? And
No, I think it's good. Obviously, it can work two ways. It might build it up too much, but I think it's a good thing. I think get us all together, enjoy the occasion, and prepare right, and then the manager and everyone knows that we've all done the same routine. There's no kind of excuses or reasons why you might be tired or etc. So no, I can't wait to get there.
Hibs, we've played them a few times this season. We've done okay.
Yeah.
Does it help that we've played them before this season? You know what to expect?
Yeah, I think it probably does, with Hibs obviously being one of the so-called bigger teams. There might have been a bit of fear in the past, but I think this season, obviously they've beat us on points in the end in the league, but head to head, we've come out on top. So I don't think there's much fear there, or there shouldn't be anyway.
We go there on Saturday. I guess it's important we start the game well.
Yeah, of course, massive. But same with every game. If you start well, it usually sets a good base for the game, and then you can kick on from there. So that'll be important. I'm sure it'll be frantic the first 10-15 minutes. That's what most cup games are like. But I'm sure we'll be ready for it.
Which position do you think you'll be playing this weekend? Right back, centre half, centre mid, centre forward, even apparently?
Up front? No, I don't know. I'll play anywhere. Obviously, with the small squad, at times you've got to adapt and play in different positions, which I don't mind doing. But we'll see.
Predictions for the game?
Oh, well, obviously got to say a win, haven't we? I think we can go there and have confidence, play good football, and I think if we get ahead, we can just relax a bit more. Whereas I think last year, or when they played in 2013, they were so overwhelmed at being ahead. I think it was maybe a cause for letting them back into the game. Whereas this year, I think if we go ahead, we won't be panicking. We won't be overexcited. Maybe it's happened in the past. It'll just be like any other game.
Do you think it helps that some of the boys, Craig Sibbald, at his age, will be second cup semi-final, third cup semi-final? That's amazing.
Yeah, I know, it is amazing. I'm sure that'll help. He doesn't speak much Sib, so it probably won't have an influence on most people, but himself, I'm sure he'll be used to these kind of things now. Same with Blair, a few of the lads. But we've got a bit of experience on the side now, so hopefully we'll just enjoy it.
But it's a big game. It's got Blair Alston screamer written all over it. Do you think he's got a bigger? He's got form. You fancy it as well, do you?
I fancy a screamer. No,
you're on for a tapping.
Yeah. No, Blair's got a great strike on him. Hopefully, we'll take anything in off their shins. We'll take any kind of goal, I'm sure. But we trained with those balls today, and to be fair, they move. You wouldn't believe how much they move for the keepers. So I'm sure we've got to test their keeper, and the likes of Blair, Sibs, they've got to take shots, and hopefully we will.
Well, fingers crossed, we're speaking to you after the game and we're booked us place in the final.
I hope they've got the champagne in hand.
Again, good to hear what the guys had to say there. Well, Jamie, looks like the squad are looking forward to this game, but just how big a game is this for Falkirk on Saturday?
Well, with the league sort of slipping away at the moment, it's still not over, obviously. There's still a chance of getting a playoff place, but tough run-in. Queen and South have got an easier run-in, I think, but as I was pointing out on Twitter, Queen and South will be playing the games that they're trying to stay in the league, so equally be as tough games. But the guys here have got to really concentrate and try and keep the ball maybe a bit more on Saturday. They need to keep it off them, stop the goals going in. The longer it goes, there'll be a good chance, I think.
You mentioned goals there. One of the things that we have to talk about is the fans have been in major discussions all week around the sort of alleged striker crisis at the club at the moment, because Rory Loy, who spoke to Peter Houston on the Falkirk Football Programme a week or so ago, he himself didn't know. It's a race against time for Rory. Botti Biabi, we believe, has contracted the mumps. John Baird is suspended, so goal threat could be an issue.
As I said before, Lewis, I'll get my boots if you want. But just joking aside, it looks as though it's getting a bit desperate. But Rory Loy was a good player for you. He was scoring the goals and stuff. I hear he got a bit of a kick from someone in a recent game, and obviously contentious debate there. But it's a shame because you do need a focal point generally up front, especially in a semi-final. It could be tough for them. But as I said, as long as you start well and keep the ball, they're always capable of doing that. It's about it's whether they can get forward in numbers and get chances on goal.
And that's the thing. That's where he could potentially be such a big miss, because with Rory, it's not just his goal threat; it's his link play, bringing midfield in as well, isn't it?
Well, it will be, yeah, but it's as I say now, you've limited resources, but you've got to go for a game plan and stick to it. That's what Peter's got to do.
And on that note, could it be the case that the Falkirk fans this weekend see the manager potentially changing things because of this lack of forward players?
Well, he might have to, but I still think he'll want to keep it tight. He'll be trying to keep them solid at the back and have a good couple in midfield that are going to be the engine room for him, even though you've lost Matt Kerr as well, which is a shame because he's a very good player in centre midfield. But yeah, it is all about when you win the ball to keep it, and it'll frustrate them like mad because they like to go direct. Big Farid, he's like when they put it forward as fast as they can to him. They know how good he is in the air and how good he is at link play and stuff. So yeah, they've got to be on the game.
And there's for some of the younger guys in the squad and people who've never played in that kind of atmosphere before, from a player's perspective, what can they expect?
They'll expect the hairs on the back of the neck to stand up because you're in the semi-final and you got the whole town shouting for you. It'll be excellent. It'll be great for them. But as soon as the whistle goes, that's it. You don't hear anyone. You just concentrate on the game, get on with it, and hopefully string a few passes together and a few shots and a few goals.
Looking back to the semi-final and the semi-final replay in '97, when you were playing at the time, captaining the club, we were massive underdogs, and a lot of people are saying same scenario again today. This weekend, Hibs are the bookies' favourites, but from a player's perspective, did you prefer being the underdog?
Yeah, it was brilliant. The players they had in their team, it was more or less impossible for us to win. But we had a self-belief that we knew we could keep it tight. We knew we could stop them scoring, and we did that. And it was great. Well, we did it most of the time, but they got one goal and then we pulled one back, and then in the second game, we just went for it and we thought, well, if we don't go for it, nothing ventured, nothing gained, really, and it worked. You
mentioned an interesting point there around you had a self-belief in the camp, and is that something this kind of mentality the players will need to have for this game this weekend?
They'll need it, yeah, definitely. A bit of steeliness, a bit of everything, really. You have a bit of banter, and it's a mixture of everything. I think we had it in '97. And the players that we had had a great laugh. We played golf together, we went out together. It's just great, It's obviously a little bit different now, but it's they're all very professional now and. A little bit different, but yeah, it is. It's about the group of guys sticking together and really working as a unit on Saturday. And how do you focus and just relax and enjoy the game to make sure that you're playing the best you can? Because from a fan's perspective, I don't know how I would react to walking out of Hampden in front of thousands and thousands of fans and almost potentially letting the occasion get to you. How do you cope with that? Well, you end up giving yourself some goals, really, as in keeping to the basics, your first tackle, your first header, you win your first tackle, you win your first header, you don't give the ball away, and if you have that mentality and if you keep doing that over and over again, eventually you have more of the ball and you'll get a chance to score. Well, cards on the table time, Jamie. If you were the Falkirk manager this weekend, what would you be doing? I'd be keeping it tight and telling him to give it to Craig. As simple as that. Yeah, back him up. Well, fingers crossed that happens and the wee man can do the business. But of course, it's a interesting point that mentioning the manager here.
we do have a few words now from the man himself, Peter Houston.
Peter, you've got quite an affinity with Falkirk. When you came back, could you imagine yourself going to Hampden in a Scottish Cup semi-final, being manager of a club you played for a long time?
Well, certainly not after the first 10 games in the league, but we have improved since then. But it's a big thrill, you know. I've seen Falkirk been at a few semi-finals over the last number of years. I actually was on the television doing the semi-final when Falkirk were 3-0 up at half-time with Pat Nevin, and thrilled that Falkirk won 3-0, and Pat Nevin being a Hibs fan, all we wanted to talk about was Pat finally getting the sack, you know. But I was gutted at the end of the match, obviously, because the younger players, the very young team at the time, just couldn't hold on and see it through or see it out as such, you know. But it's a great thrill to take Falkirk to Hampden in my first season. It's been a wee bit of an up and down season in many ways, a lot of changes and a lot of players coming in, players coming out and things like that. But great credit to the players, because after the first 10 games, as I just mentioned, we didn't have many points, and they got us into a position in the league that, you know, we've still got an outside chance to get into the playoffs, but we put ourselves back in contention. And the past week, a couple of results, just too many games in a small period of time, I think, caught up with us a bit. But as far as the semi-final, that's gave the team that certainly looks at it in training today, it's gave them a fresh impetus. I can tell they're a bit excited about it. I think we started today on work, on planning how we're going to go about the job against Hibs on Saturday. We started doing some shape, how we're going to play, and later as it develops through the week, we'll work on what we think Hibs will throw at us and try and throw at us, and be ready to counteract that, you know. So it's exciting to take Falkirk to the semi-final, but I'd rather be talking here just now as a Falkirk manager getting into, you know, we've got a final to look forward to on Saturday, and that's what we'll be trying to do, is try to get to that final, because it's a long time since Falkirk won the cup, and I'm sure that there's a lot of older Falkirk fans out there who could die happy men.
A lot of young ones as well.
Yeah, a lot of young ones, but you know, there'll be guys who's waited since '57 to see Falkirk maybe win the Scottish Cup. It'd be a great thrill if we could do it this year.
Pierre, you've been at Hampden and won a cup, so you obviously know what it takes to take a team that far. Do you think that'll stand you in good stead? Well,
I think so. I think my experiences, if we were 3-0 up, for example, I think it helps. We'd be able to see out the game. I think at that stage it must have been difficult with, you know, Sibbald must have been a really young boy, McGrandle's really young, Kingsley really young, Alston really young. But these boys have grown up over the last couple of years, I'm sure, and we'd be able to see it out, you know. So hopefully my experiences have been in and about that stadium in semi-finals and finals will be a calming influence on them, you know, because it is a good pitch, it's a big pitch. We have players, in my opinion, who can pass the ball and retain the ball. Hibs have got similar and the same, but we if we're organised, we can go and do a job as far as I'm concerned, and I have to get into the players that same belief, you know. Again, it's getting down to us believing we can beat Hibs. Now, I see no reason why they shouldn't believe in themselves, because they already beat them twice, and we drew 3-3 after being 3-1 down, you know. So Hibs are a very good side, they're a good passing side, they can score goals, but again they'll have this thing in their head that no matter what they've done against us this season, they haven't done well enough, you know. So hopefully that can continue. They'll be overwhelming favourites because they're hitting a rich vein of form. They have got better as the season's been on, but I'm still, as I said earlier in previous chats with Falkirk TV, is the fact it's a one-off game, and in a one-off game anything can happen.
Pressure off a bit, being as your underdogs?
Yeah, pressure's all in the name.
If you have everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that the expectations, the pressure, and the expectations of the Hibs supporters is massive. They've not won the cup for over 100 odd years, and every year they think it's going to be their turn, and that alone will bring pressure into the stands with the Hibs fans. What we have to do is do exactly what we've done against them before: is silence them, score goals against them, be good defensively. In the first game we won 1-0. I think it was the second game of the season, or third game of the season. We had to defend at times, you know, against good pressure, against great crosses coming into the box. I remember Vaulks and McCracken were superb in clearing it, but we also had the Sibbalds, we had McGrandles at the time, Rory Loy at the time, doing their stuff in the opposite direction. And although we won 1-0, they could have scored some, but we could have scored more as well, and we looked more dangerous in the second half in the counter attack. And we looked as if we could score goals, you know, and that's what we have to get back to over the last couple of games. We've looked at, you know, I don't think we've played some decent stuff against Queen of the South. We played poorly against Livingston, but as I say, this is a different game. We have to create chances, and I'm convinced we'll get players in the team who can score goals. You
speak about players who can score goals. You've got a few injury issues. If we can touch on it briefly, I mean, Rory Loy, there's the Willie Woney. You've got Botty Abbey out with mumps. Unfortunately, you've got Scott Shepherd back who could come in. You've got
O'Hara, we've got Morgan.
We've got permutation, good and bad. I mean, there's options there, isn't there?
I've got the team in my mind which will start the game. There's only one position. I've still got to decide what striker will start the game. In that respect, that's not me saying I'm only going with one striker. I might be going with two, and one's already picked in my mind. You know, so I'll keep that close to my chest at this particular time with regards to what's going on. You know, but Botty Abbey come back training today. You know, so he looks fine. He'll go into contention. Taylor Morgan comes into contention. Kevin O'Hara, a 16-year-old, come on at Queen of the South. Could have scored a hat-trick, but done well.
He got himself in good positions.
Got himself in good positions.
Didn't look phased either.
He's quick. He's a very, very non-stop worker. He's perpetual motion. Could upset big boys. So even him, as a 16-year-old, comes into my thoughts with regards to, it's a big ask, but could he handle it? I'm quite sure he could, but whether he plays from the start or not, I've still to decide, you know. So we'll leave that till later in the week.
I don't want to give Hibs too much away either, do I? I mean,
no,
I guess in this team it's a bit of, you've got
well,
to get cards close to your chest, haven't you?
They'll be wondering, are we going to play one striker, two striker? Are we going to play wide players? They've played a back three last week and beat Hearts. The 3 times that they've played against us, they've played with a back four and they've no won. So I've got in my mind it might start with a back three, because they've tried their back four before. They've tried a diamond in the middle of the park, they've tried 4-3-3, they've tried quite a number of things and no beat us. So the only thing they've not tried yet is a 3-5-2, and they might well come up with that come Saturday. But we are preparing the players with different variations of how Hibs could play. There'll be a threat at set plays because they've got big height in Foster, Hanlon, Fontaine, El Alagui, Goodnair, and Cummings in the box, you know. So we have to make sure that we don't give silly free kicks away, silly corners away. But if we do, we have to defend properly against them. So that's the kind of stuff that we're building up towards this week and planning to do for the rest of the week.
And nobody says it's the centre forward that's going to win you the match. I mean, it could well be that Peter Grant pops up with a header and he scored 2 through there early in the season.
Part of our problem, I feel, this season, when we're not scoring goals, we're not getting enough goals for the middle of the park. You know, McCracken's chipped in more than, like, say, some of the midfield players. You know, so the Tiles, the Vaulks, the Sibbalds, the Alstons, the Smiths, whoever it may be, they've got to chip in with some goals as well, and more than what they're doing. You know, I look at Queen of the South, for example. They've got 3 players who have scored double figures, you know, in their first team. We need to find that consistency, players who will score goals and get into double figures. So I would like to see more goals come from the middle of the park. Peter Grant scored a couple when he's been up. Dave McCracken, I think, has got 5 goals. But as you're right when you say, it's not just down to the strikers to score the goals. You've got to make sure that you get goals from other areas in the park, and that's maybe one of the failings that we have had throughout the season. But that's something we're building and know it's something we need to fix.
Is it quite incredible that this will be Craig Sibbald and Blair Alston's 3rd major semi-final?
Is that the third?
It's the 3rd one at the ages of that. It's quite staggering, isn't it?
Yeah, but great experience. You know, great experience. It's good for them not to go in as their first one, because they're still so young. Sybil's still 19, I think, and yet he's played 3 major semi-finals. So great credit to him, and I think he'll be stronger for it. Sibs is getting, you just tell, for a young man, he's taking responsibility now. He's a very talented player. Blair's come on to a game over the last couple of games when the team hasn't. I thought he's done quite well for us recently, and we need that. I thought Smith was good last Sunday against Queen of the South. We need him being more consistent. Tayo, when we take him out of the team, we seem to get beat, although he played on Sunday. I thought, he was one of your better players. We're going to need good performance for everybody if we want to get into the final, because as I say, we're playing a team who are a good side, but what we remember is that have no fear and go and express yourself. And as I say, I think the pressure's on them and the expectation levels are great for them, but along with the expectation levels comes a responsibility, and some players don't handle responsibility as much as they could or should do.
We've had some big semi-finals in recent years where we've been successful. 97 when we turned over Celtic, we turned over our biggest rivals in 2009 against Dunfermline, and now this one, if we could go through here against Hibs, I mean, it's kind of the team that was always going to be talked about the most because they're in our league. George Craig's our director of football, whatever he's called. There always seems to be something that football throws up.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, there's plenty of connections, ex-Falkirk connections. Eddie May, I think, is in the youth setup as well. But this is good. You know, there's Hibs connections here now. You know, and James McDonough and Alan Maybury came from Hibs as well. You know, so there's Tom Tayo, I think, played in the last semi-final, the 4-3 game. I think there's a photograph I've seen him and Sibs challenging for the ball. So this Saturday they'll be teammates rather than opponents on the day. You know, so no, it's a. If I'm being honest, the three teams that were left, I think it was 4 when the draw was made, because Inverness game hadn't been decided yet. The game that I would have picked and the game that Hibs would have picked would be against each other. You know, so we wanted to avoid Celtic and Inverness, if I'm being perfectly honest, and you look for them. One of them two will get to the final, and hopefully it's Falkirk that's going to be playing final against them. But before the draw was made, I think most people Falkirk orientated would be saying, give us Hibs, because our record's been decent. And I'm sure if in the Hibs fans' minds, they'd be thinking, give us Falkirk, because we're due a turn against them. You know, so it all sets it up well for what's going to be I think a cracking cup tie, and hopefully we can do ourselves justice.
Message for the fans to sign off on, Peter?
Yeah, no, the fans have been great with us recently. We've been disappointing certainly at Livingston we're disappointing, but I feel that Queen of South, we totally outplayed them. We lost a cracking goal they scored against us. We have missed a cutting edge since Rory went out of the team. We have to find that cutting edge. We have to make sure that we try and score against the Hibs. And we're going to try and score. We won't be going into Hampden Park to sit on my back foot and hopefully we don't lose a goal and try again extra time, etc. We're actually at our best when we attack teams, and we've attacked Hibs over the last few games, and 3 games that we've played them and won them, 2 of them. You know, so that's our fans. We just need the backing, we need the support, and keep behind us, even if we did go 1 down, keep behind us, because you see the Falkirk sides of the past against Hibs, and we're 3-1 down at half time. The Falkirk fans stood by us that day, and the players responded, and we got a 3-3 draw and should have won it in the end.
Well, Peter Houston giving us his thoughts there. Jamie, we've spoke about the manager, about the players, but obviously from a fan's perspective as well, you know, what's it going to be like for the fans going to Hampden again? And are you aware of the fans at all when you're playing?
Well, we are aware of the fans before the match, and you know, and they'll shout on your name and stuff. You know, it's brilliant. You know, but when the game starts, you just get on with it. You know, you don't hear hardly anything unless you score, and then you run to your fans and you're ripping your shirt off and all that, and that's when you hear them. But apart from that, no. But yeah, they can be a really big part of this weekend. You know what I mean? If they turn up in the droves, get themselves down here, get the tickets, and get there. Because the boys will need you.
Well, fingers crossed the fans at home do exactly that this weekend. Of course, can't let you go without asking you for a little score prediction for this weekend. How do you think it'll end up?
Well, I think Falkirk will score, so if they keep it tight at the back, it could be a 1-0 win or a 1 each, and go for a replay.
Well, fingers crossed. We'll see how that pans out. The action, of course, not too far away. My thanks to Jamie for joining us on the show, and of course, hopefully we'll see many of you this weekend at Hampden.